Whenever I share about how I came to know Jesus, I have to kind of backtrack and just share a little bit about I was raised in a home of, there was a lot of darkness, a lot of loneliness, being an unwanted pregnancy, and then I didn't know my biological father, and so there was just a lot of craving in my heart just to be loved and to feel like I was wanted and to be accepted. And that was something all throughout my childhood. I can remember just having a lot of time alone and running away into like my little fantasy world and just imagining that like my dad was gonna come and rescue me out of my life of just loneliness. And I always envisioned him coming on a horse with his sword drawn, and he was gonna have robes just like the Prince and Cinderella, and he was gonna rescue me out, and he was gonna like give me a home and, you know, give me my true identity. And of course, as a believer now, I look back and I'm like, oh, I see where those longings were leading me. But at the time, as a child, it was just like, that was my kind of escape. When I got to high school, of course, I could put on the smile. God gave me kind of an outgoing personality, and so I put the smile on and made a lot of friends and got the acceptance from people in that way. But there was still like something deep inside me that was like, this is very fleeting and it's all dependent on me. And when I would leave school, I would still be going back to the same home life of just a darkness. And I really long just to not like to have the permanent peace and a permanent place of acceptance and love. When I was a junior in high school, a cute boy invited me to a youth thing, and I was like, well, I mean, I'd heard about Jesus. We live in the Bible Belt, so I'd heard about Jesus a lot, but I really hadn't, like, I didn't know the truth of anything about him. I went, and I remember walking into that place, and the girls there had something, there was something about them that I was just so attracted to. And of course now I know that it was the Holy Spirit and the aroma of Christ. But at the time I was just like, they've got something, it's gentle, it's kind, it's welcoming. And it was something I had been longing for. And I just wanted to be around them all the time. And so I started going to all the student stuff, and I went and I heard the gospel, and I understood that God was saying, I will accept you without you working for it. Like you can't be good enough for me. And I was like, good, because I had been working so hard. And then I also understood that he was saying, like, I want to be your family. And I was like, I want that. And so I surrendered to the Lord at the age of 16. And what's funny is I think that people expect, okay, so when you become a Christian, blessings. Well, nothing like that happened. Like, my life did not change on the outside. I was still having to go home, and I had a stepdad who was abusive to my mom, and I still had a mom who was an alcoholic, and it was still a dark home life for me. But the Lord had done something inside of me, and I knew that I had a purpose, and I knew that he was calling me to a different kind of lifestyle. Like, I was like, this is not going to be my future. And it was just such a hope that he gave me, and such a freedom that I felt knowing, like, I'm gonna walk out of this. Like, what I had seen in my whole family lineage, I knew that God was saying, we're gonna do something different. So I graduated from college. I got my first job in Memphis, Tennessee, and I had been praying for as soon as I became a believer, I began to pray about my husband. I met Jim just a few months after I graduated. I saw him across a crowded room, just like a movie, and I was like, oh, something is different here. And I went home and wrote in my little diary, and I was like, this is something. We had a very short courtship and got engaged and got married. When we decided to be parents, it's a miracle. Like, I didn't think I even really wanted to have kids because of what I saw. So when he called me to be a mother and a wife, and the way that he broke chains in both of those areas has been a miracle, for sure. He has never failed me. He doesn't change. He's been the same from the time he came and was like whispering encouragement to me as a little girl before I ever even knew what his name was. He's been the same then as he is today. When I got up this morning, God has been so faithful to be father to the fatherless.